And the rain really did trip up a lot of drivers, not just, seasoned veterans of over, many, many seasons worth of races, but the rookies in particular, Isaac Hadjar, that heartbreaking moment, DNSing ultimately on the formation lap, Jack Doohan being out on lap one, Bortoleto being out, Liam Lawson being out. Oliver Behrman, he's finished at the back, but of course there were a few other sort of issues generally just with Haas there. But of course Kimi Antonelli, was flying at one point, did go off the track in a move very similar to George Russell, but how do you think the rookies just needed a little bit more experience for the rain particularly, or is this just a case of Australia, weird track conditions, and untested rookies, ultimately, well, not necessarily untested, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think honestly, the fact I'll put it this way: like all of these drivers have a fairly good feel in the wet. But you know, there's some there who are going to be better than others. But I think one of the things that they were taken by surprise because you don't get experience of this in the lower formulas. And you wouldn't have done in any kind of preseason testing or any kind of private testing that the teams would have done with old cars, is that these hybrid power units do, as much as they have matured and they have sort of been more refined over the years. There's still the element of there's an awful lot of torque uh coming through at once. And if you're not prepared for it, if you're slightly out of position or you've got your wheels on a white line or anything like that, it is so easy, even in a high downforce car, for you to spin up the rear wheels. And at that point, we saw even Fernando Alonso doing something similar. Um, it's very difficult to get out of those kind of spins. There's so much momentum to the cars as well. They're very difficult to save, and I think the rookies will learn from this. That you really do have to treat it's a massive skill to be able to drive these cars in the wet weather. Um, they really are sort of on a knife edge. And when that power comes in, it's very easy to get carried into an accident. I don't think this is indicative of how they mean to go on. I mean, we saw Carlos Sainz, and Fernando Alonso do the same thing. So this is very clearly not isolated to the rookie drivers, but I think you can very clearly see by the number of drivers that did it, very clearly this was sort of canted towards the drivers with less experience, and that's I think why that happened. But we saw Max Verstappen snatch a break. It's very easy for him to do a similar thing and end up down an escape road. That's the kind of that's just a sort of kind of thing that's bound to happen in wet conditions. I mean, that's how hard these guys are pushing, and inevitably that's going to lead to some mistakes at the edge cases.
Yeah, definitely pushing really hard. Obviously wanting to make an impression on their debut as well. But